I ask everybody this, and I always learn something. How did you find God? Everyone, I think at this point knows that I was born into the church. And then the last one I did, Just Raised, he was like the first person I think I've interviewed who was also born in the church. Most people were not. So I kind of like to hear everyone's story.
Yeah. So I was raised where like by the time I came around, my mom started to go to church. So as I was young, she was taking me and stuff and like had me like on the kids choir and all that good stuff. But it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was deep rooted.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? We would, it was a point where I remember us getting really, really consistent, but a lot of it was, Sunday here and Sunday there, like, and then like it got consistent. And then as I got to a specific age, I kind of had the choice on whether I wanted to go or not.
Right.
And you already know. Nope. Sleeping. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would say that I didn't really, even in those times, singing on the choir and all that stuff, I could quote scriptures, I could do all that stuff, didn't really know God, and so by the time I got of age to make my own decisions, I kind of did my own thing.
Right.
And then, I dabbled a lot into like weed, marijuana, and alcohol and stuff. Mm-hmm. It got to a point where, man, I started hearing voices and all of that stuff, and like I always equated to one of my favorite movies, and just from our conversations that I joked a lot. So like I equated going to like Debo, right? The voices that I heard was like this my like pump like that's the voices that I heard. Debo voice, like, yo, you're not gonna live to past 21. Like I was hearing voices like that, and I got to the point where like I wasn't 21, but I remember like getting to a point where that fast forward, like it felt like every time I dabbled into drugs and alcohol, that time span that the Debo gave me kept shortening up. So it was like it started off with 21, and then it's like it got 2 months.
Wow.
Like, it was only when I was like really, really intoxicated and high and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was real, man. It was really real. And I remember it got to a point where it was like, yo, you better not go to sleep. I heard a voice saying you better not go to sleep, and I believed it. And I tried to stay up the whole night.
I bet.
I tried to stay up the whole night. I'm like, well, how I'm going to die? It wasn't making sense, right? Rationally, but in everything in me, man, it was so real. And I got to the point where, and at a specific time, I'm dozing off, and I'm still hearing like, "Wake up, I'm gonna kill you," whatever I was hearing. It was like really interesting. I got to the point where I just started praying. Like I haven't prayed at that point since God knows when, but I remember praying, and I heard a different voice, and that voice was "Go to sleep." And I was like, all right, God, I like that voice. Right. And ironically, looking back on it, man, that was Holy Week, so I didn't know. I just was like, I woke up the next day, and I actually had like scars on my arms.
Wow.
Like I had scars on my arms, and even right now, you guys probably can't see it, but I've been a nail biter since I was a kid.
I feel
like
that.
It wasn't me, but it was like some scars on my arm, and I just kind of felt like that was interesting, and I just was like, I remember thinking it was probably like a Wednesday, and I'm like, I'm going to church on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Right? And I ended up going to church. That Sunday happened to be Easter, and I even then I'm like, yo, if he called an altar call, like that's how far away from church I was. Like, they do it sometimes. Like, I'm like, yo, if he do it, then that's my time. But if he don't, then all right. Like, I really was like, and sure enough, he did it. I'm like, all right. Like, that's the Lord. So then rededicated my life, man. Ended up getting baptized again and all of that stuff. And yeah, man. So and since then, just been doing my best to try to learn who God is.
So how old were you at that point when you went back?
that was 2010. I think like 20. I was
Gotcha.
like 20. And I remember like still having like slight thoughts as it got closer to my 21st birthday. And
Right.
And then like it was funny because you can't tell like your friends and stuff like that, like, because my friends at that time was like, he was high, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, and it was just so real. And but yeah, I remember when I finally hit my 21st birthday, like, yeah, what's up now?
You're like, I made it.
Talking like I made it, right? But then from there, you know, just, and I wrote a song about it. I can't find it, but I did write a song about it. But yeah, man, that was an interesting time. But I was like 20 years old when that
I
happened.
say, yeah, if you can't find it, you should rewrite it. Or that's a dope story. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
not super dope. So